Welcome to this series of Oracle Fusion Account Receivable demonstration. In this video, we will see how to create invoice. Here we are on the Receivable homepage, which neatly divided into separate work areas for billing. Account Receivable, Revenue and Funds Capture. Here, using this billing work area, you can gain comprehensive control and visibility into your billing department, and can get all the relevant information related into billing and Infotile format. Information in a tile format hands in a Infotile. Using this, you can efficiently prioritize your work with at-a-glance reviews of your current receivable data. Conveniently summarize of 4 Infotiles of incomplete, approval, research and import exception. The summary information into each Infotile appears in the corresponding detail table, for your review. So this is about Infotile. To the right of the page, we have something called Panel Drawer, which contain access to your task, search, and report analytics, for your billing role. Let us access the task pane, and open the Create Transaction form. So this is the Create Transaction form and Create Transaction invoice. In this transaction class, you have selected to be invoiced. From this page you can create billing transaction of invoice, credit memo and debit memo. The fields which are marked as star are the mandatory fields. To understand the process better, let us start to enter a demo invoice. Here, first of all, user need to select a business unit. Then we need to select a transaction source, as here we are creating a manual transaction, so you have to select a manual. For the transaction coming from Order Management module, the source will be order orchestration. Then you need to select transaction type. Class and type both are invoice, but invoices can be of multiple type like interest invoice, invoice for non-sales, internal invoice, domestic sales, export sales, etc. So depends upon business requirement, we can create separate transaction type and account receivable. The accounts are derived from auto accounting rule, and one of the parameters available to you for defaulting account is of transaction type, so you can have your receivable, revenue and freight account defaulted from your transaction type. Then comes the transaction number. Transaction number is the bill number like invoice number or credit memo number. We can set the system to generate it automatically or provide user the option to have it entered manually as well. But this document number is always generated automatically, as it is the audit voucher number. So it will be generated by system in sequence. For your billing transaction, select the transaction date and accounting date. By default, system will select the current date for both transaction and accounting date. You can associate your billing transaction to a salesperson, so you can enter salesperson name, say Lisa Jones. Here we can also attach attachment. You can add as many attachments as you want. And click on OK button. In addition to attachments, in case you want to enter some detail notes, you can click on the Notes button to enter the notes. By clicking on the plus sign, you can enter the note details. Click on OK button. You can also select the transaction currency. Now coming to the customer information part, you can select your bill to customer name. Say ABC Application Software. Here customer name is divided into 2 separate parts of bill to name, as well as ship to name. As soon as you select a bill to name, the primary, ship to name, will get defaulted from customer master. Once the ship to, and, bill to information have been retrieved, you need to select the payment term. This payment term get defaulted from your customer master, if they are selected there. So, based on the payment term and the transaction date, system will derive the due date of this billing invoice. Scroll down to the Invoice Lines region. Here, you have various ways to enter an invoice line. Let us select the item code manually. But to understand bill in through detail, here you can select the item manually, and system will default the description of item from your inventory module. Like A001, the item code for laptop bag female, with a unit of measurement. Here, you can specify the quantity, suppose 100 quantity, and the unit price, let us say $50. Once you provided the quantity and price, system will calculate the amount for you. You can bill multiple item to the customer by adding more lines. If you do not know the item code, in that case, you can use Find button to search the item. And again, if you enter the quantity and unit price, system will calculate the amount for you. You can also select the standard memo line. Standard memo line is used when the item is not an inventory item, say for example, consultancy services, or 1-year support agreement. Let us save the transaction. The moment you save the transaction, system will calculate the applicable tax amount on the basis of transaction information entered. And finally, after entering all the relevant transaction information and reviewing it, you can complete the transaction by clicking on Complete and Review. Complete and Close will close the form. Complete and Create Another will open a new transaction form. By completing the existing transaction, let us click on Complete and Review. After completing the transaction, you will be able to create a receipt against it. Upon completion, system will generate the transaction number. Also, action list of value will show the action, which you can attempt it, against this transaction, like you can create a credit memo against this transaction, by clicking on Credit Transaction. You can dispute the transaction, you can do adjustment against this transaction, you can review the installments. Through this review installments, you can update the due date. Though, this due date can be updated by changing the payment term as well. Say, you select net 15. So, system will update a due date for you, but this payment term can be updated only till the time this transaction not posted to general ledger. After posting also, I can change the due date by clicking on this Review Installments button and changing the due date from changing the due date column. Say, it is due on 31st July. So, irrespective of the payment term selected, the due date will get updated once you click on Save and Close. So, here, as you can see, the due date has been updated. Through this action list of value, you can create a duplicate transaction, as well as you can do accounting for this transaction. Also, you can directly post the transaction to the ledger, or you can do account in draft to review the accounting and post the entry later. System will give you a confirmation message that accounting has been complete. You can view accounting by clicking on this button. Or do the same from action list of value. So this was about invoice processing in Fusion Receivable.